Is Trevor Noah using South African politicians for cannon fodder? Is Trevor Noah throwing black South Africans under the bus for mobility in Hollywood or mobility in the US media? This is what we need to discuss in this video. Trevor Noah is coming under fire. As you all know, Trevor Noah is a South African born comedian who is now the host of The Daily Show, right? And I happen to enjoy Trevor Noah's presence on The Daily Show. I've been watching The Daily Show since Craig Kilborn used to host The Daily Show, okay? And I watched as it transitioned from Craig Kilborn's style of comedy to Jon Stewart's style of comedy. And now it has transitioned into Trevor Noah's style of comedy, right? Now, as I consider this history at this moment right now, as I consider this history on the show, I found that Trevor Noah is the only one of these three who is able to make jokes about race and not be judged as being insensitive. You know, Trevor Noah is the only one who has been able to make that transition, whereas he speaks about racial issues very openly and honestly in regard to U.S. politics, right? But at times, Trevor Noah attempts to equate the American situation with what is taking place in South Africa or taking place in another country on the continent of Africa. And I am here to say today that, and this is to Trevor Noah, you cannot, in any circumstances, compare the dynamics on the continent of Africa with the dynamics in America. You can't compare a U.S. politician to a politician on the continent. These are two totally different sets of histories, two totally different um, cultural experiences, right? So, I mean, although you will find that there will be some commonalities because we are all human, but you can't judge any of the leaders in South Africa in particular and compare them to Donald Trump or compare them to George Bush or say that the situations are the same because you will find that they are not. Okay, now Trevor Noah, I didn't want to bring this up, but the thing is, it's inescapable. Okay, as you know on my channel, I'm not a denier of colorism. All right, Trevor Noah in his comedy routines oftentimes makes references to his biracial makeup, right? And Trevor Noah is my brother. I don't care if Trevor Noah was one quarter African. That's my brother. So the thing is, I don't want you all to think that I'm trying to throw him under the bus because of his racial makeup. But hear me out. Trevor Noah, like many people with his genetic makeup, have made statements to the effect that they are conflicted in terms of their worldview because they find themselves at times having to appease two groups of people, right? When we should all just be human and leave all of the racial garbage in the trash heap of history, right? But having um, this conflicted worldview, at times people tend to make statements that will hurt one group and that will help and that will bolster another group. Okay, and so I'm not gonna say that because just based on his biracial makeup that he makes various statements. I would say that his comedy, based on his comedy routines, I find that Trevor Noah, he finds himself trying to appease two groups of people, right? And so something that you say that will make one group laugh will make the other cringe, you know? So this is the tightrope that Trevor Noah is working as a comedian. But in terms of his references to, most recently, he has made references to Julius Malema, and he attempted to compare Julius Malema to Donald Trump. And I'm asking myself, Trevor Noah, who came from a country with apartheid, in which there was a blatant system of racism that was entrenched, that was legal, right? Trevor Noah, who descended from those who were in zoning restrictions, those who were killed by the soldiers of malice in the apartheid regime. How could Trevor Noah compare a man like Julius Malema, who has been standing up for black people on the continent and worldwide with his statements? He has been speaking up for us. How can Trevor Noah compare Donald Trump, who is a billionaire bureaucrat coming from the American paradigm? How could he even compare the two? I find that Trevor Noah made those statements to appease his white audience. He's trying to appease his white audience by throwing our revolutionary leaders under the bus. He's using snippets from old interviews with Julius Malema and trying to say that he is a tyrant, right? But when in fact, Julius Malema is a very reasonable, calculating, practical brother who at times speaks with a lot of energy and emotion because, as all of us, he experiences the pangs of oppression. So he speaks with encouragement and conviction in his voice. All right? But Trevor Noah has also made jokes about Jacob Zuma, and he's been mocking the African accent on The Daily Show. And why is it that our black comedians need to make comedy that is always um, self-deprecating, right? We always make these black jokes in which the highlight of the joke is that we are somehow inadequate or we are somehow misinformed. So this is my thing with comedy from many of the black comedians, but in particular, people are saying that there's a lot of outrage for his statements about Julius Malema, but not much outrage when he spoke about Jacob Zuma and about Robert Mugabe. And in my opinion, when I watched those routines, because I saw them, I cringed watching them because I felt like he was trying to appease his white audience by throwing us under the bus. He didn't have to make those references. Okay, he's on an American show talking about American politics. Why do you need to drag African politicians into this? All right. So people, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below about Trevor Noah. He's a good brother. I happen to think in the emerging media voices, Trevor Noah gives the best interviews. Besides Stephen Colbert, Trevor Noah is one of those people who gives the best interviews, right? But he is basically a conflicted individual trying to serve two masters. All right. People, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. One love.